Hello and welcome back to Card Spotlight. This week we're covering Kobold Barracks, a red structure that increases the power of your creatures by +2 when adjacent to it. This is a very strong card if positioned correctly and can have a massive impact on board since your opponent has to answer it with either creature combat or removal. But Kobold Barracks has 4 life, so it does dodge popular removal like Flame Burst and the Emperor's Command. Now, some players have not been too satisfied with Gift of Steel in recent times, just because it's very specific. You know, you only get a +3 life in your combat creatures. So, Cobble Barracks is an alternative. If you feel that Gift of Steel's inconsistency outside of your combat creatures is getting you down, you could try Cobble Barracks out instead, which is a more universal and flexible power-up. So let's get into the matches and see how this red control performs on the ladder. Alright guys, we're in our first match with this Kobold Barracks base deck, and speak of the devil, there it is. You know, I'm just going to keep this. I don't think I'd usually keep this in the mulligan, but just because I want to show an example of how it performs, I'm absolutely fine with having it in my opening hand. Now this is a red control, so we are going to be playing a little bit more defensively, but the thing with red control, you can play it quite mid-rangey. You can kind of go into the wells, and then once you do that, it's much easier for your combat creatures to get value. But we have a bit of smoke coming our way. That's fine. I mean, I can handle some smoke, which is kind of better for me, to be honest, because I'd rather be the defender. With these combat creatures that I'll draw, the boss, the brigand, and I'll be able to gain additional Faeria. Now, being able to apply pressure with a control deck against rush is going to be very much dependent on when I want to push aggressive land towards my opponent. Now, you see Grey Star here trying to get to this well, but it's gone. It's too late. So defensively, Kobold Barracks can be a bit clunky, and it actually only just came to my mind during this match because you are kind of starved for lands anyway when playing on a when you're playing defensively. So it can be a little bit difficult. Now, I don't really need any more lands as far as mountains go at the moment. So I think this is a great opportunity to close this gap here. Maybe even take this as well. Just so wind soldiers can't collect from here when they go across. We'll step onto this desert, and then we'll play a good old-fashioned boss. I think I'll move the axe grinder in as well. So I'm forcing my opponent to go down a very specific route. Now, do I care about Doomsday? That's a big question. Do I care about Doomsday? I could use Barracks here. I could save it as a surprise, but I could play it in this spot. And it's just another annoyance for the rush player. It cuts off an avenue of haste, so I like this. Check the Barracks here. It powers up these 2 creatures. Not only that, it's a 4 life structure. It's going to be difficult to push through for a yellow rush player. So I'm curious. We'll see what he does. So we have a desert up here. Very interesting. Okay. Yeah, I'll just stay here. I don't mind missing this collection because I'm trying to force the rush player to play the card here, and then I can to take care of it. And while doing this, while my opponent is playing slowly, it gives me an opportunity to apply pressure myself with aggressive lands. So we see Wind Soldier coming down. Gonna hit my orb. Interesting. To get that prayer off. 16 Faeria. Draw a card. Very strange. This is probably something like a Demon Wrangler. No surprise. I play like a demon here, which I can just kill my axe grinder. That's absolutely fine. So one thing to consider is you need to be in range of your barracks to be able to utilize it. So if Brigand was a step here to try and clear loads of waste, I can't actually do it because the barracks doesn't allow me. However, I can still move Brigand here and clear this Templar, no problem. Now, I need to decide what I want to do. And Flame Burst this guy. I can probably just clear this guy and then move on to both deserts and pass. I don't really mind. Like I'm missing collection from here, but he's not really applied enough pressure for me to care. So yeah, let's just do that. We'll just clear this guy. We'll move here. We'll move here. We'll continue to push these neutrals. And we'll Flame Burst this guy. Now we're gonna probably take this mountain here. If I pick up any more axe grinders, and then we'll take like 2 mountains here, and that gives us an aggressive avenue. And as you can see, I feel like Greystar is really struggling, just because I have locked out these lands and made life more awkward, and now I'm starting to apply pressure of my own, which is going to be pretty difficult for Greystar, because most times Yellow Rush players don't want to defend. Because defending is kind of backwards for them. They don't want to defend. They want you to be defending at all times. So we'll see. Look at that, just a pass. So Faeria is not something I need right now. Faeria is absolutely fine. Even if Greystar was the Doomsday here, he's going to lose a tremendous amount of Faeria. I'm still going to have plenty of Faeria, and I'm just going to Ground Shaker again. I kind of feel like this is lost for Greystar, but we'll see what tricks. Rapid Sleeve. Going to go and clear my... Okay, going to clear my Axe Grinder. Nightmare my boss. So that was a lot spent on removal there. Hit, draw, maybe prayer. Yep. So back up to 7. Another monk. And that is all the space that is here to apply pressure. And my Ground Shaker, another aggressive Ground Shaker here, should be the nail in the coffin. Especially since I have Cypher's Wrath and Flame Burst in hand. This basically means I can kill lots of stuff. Now, actually, Zealous Crusader is probably one of the more difficult creatures for me to handle. I mean, I can, technically. So I can hit Orb for 5, making that 14. I'll have another Ground Shaker down. That's going to do another damage. So 13. Then I have 10 damage going to his orb next turn, along with a Flame Burst. So I feel like just play aggressively here. I feel like I'm in a winning position. Yeah. I don't see any reason to not be aggressive here. I'm sticking the Outland Ranger here, just because I want... Greystar's already Faeria starved, so if he wanted to make room to allow him to apply more damage, I'm going to have to go for Outland Ranger first, which is going to cost Faeria at a card. And I think one thing to note here, which I didn't really cover in my article much, because I didn't really think about this matchup at the time, but... This barracks has been an absolute nightmare for my opponent because it's taken away one avenue of aggression. It's a 4-life structure, and Yellow Rush really struggles with dealing with high life creatures and structures. You know, most of the time, Yellow Rush's damage tops off at 3 with the Wind Soldier. So if you wanted to clear this out cleanly, you'd have to wind soldier it and then maybe throw a monk at it at the same time. That's a problem. Well, not really. Okay, so one thing I could have done differently. I could have campfired last turn and pushed an extra damage, which would have put him on 14, and then I would have had lethal with the flame burst. So I will consider that a misplay from me, not calculating a soul drain to sustain my opponent here. But I have enough removal in hand to just remove this and just push damage and win next turn. My opponent's not going to have any Faeria remaining, so it's going to be absolutely fine there. So a little dangerous. Should have went for the campfire play. Now I'll remember that in the future. Well, I hope I will. And yeah, this is just lethal. There's just no way. There's no way you can win from here. Had all the prayers as well. You'd have to go like Soul Pact, Wind Soldier Campfire, and as you can see, didn't have it there. So some land blocking, a Cobble Barracks being just basically a big wall on one of my sides, really helped in defeating that Yellow Rush. Our next opponent is going to be Dragon Slide. Dragon Slide's a very friendly and kind person who watches my stream when he gets the time. The busy man. So it's always a pleasure to play against Dragon Slide. I'm going to say hi. How's it going? Ah, there you go. Both of us right at the same time. Okay, so Axe Grinder are going to come down here. I could go for like double neutral Horsemaster, double neutral Mountain Axe Grinder if I wanted to go in the wells, but it's another rush deck, so I'm kind of glad I didn't do that. Rush has really picked up in popularity on the ladder, but it is beatable. It really is. There are other archetypes that work very well. I've been playing Blue Jump recently, but I've made a Dream Reaver variant. It's actually a Blue Jump Dream Reaver Blue Sevens hybrid, and it's been excellent so far. I've really enjoyed playing it. I think we just play Ground Shaker. I have another Ground Shaker if I need it. So loads of defenses already. On 11 Faeria, Yellow Rush can do quite a lot in terms of removal. Could like Desert here, Wind Soldier, Soul Drain this if I didn't have the Ground Shaker down, play a Monk, hit my Orb, pray into Demon. Like there's just so much you can do. Yellow Rush's like third turn is usually extremely explosive. As you can see, they follow it into Prayer, Soul Drain, probably Demon plus something. Or not. Interesting. Ah, okay. So I think what Dragon Slide wants, he wants me to commit the land here. But I'm not going to do it. Well, the sad thing is I want to kill this, but I don't want to make this land. You know what? I think I do, regardless. Yeah, we're gonna do it. Just because I want to clear this more than anything. I'll play an Axe Grinder. So there's one avenue of aggression so far for Dragon Slide, which is down here, which is boxed in between my Axe Grinder and my Ground Shaker. Gonna make life a little difficult. And it just goes to show how strong defensive land placement can completely change a matchup. There is an article on the hub, which I think I need to bring to attention again, is how to defend against rush. And I wrote it right at the start of my journey into Abracam, and we discussed that we wanted, you know, new players to have the knowledge they needed to defend against Rush. Rush can be a very terrifying archetype to play against, especially if you don't know what to do. But these type of lands, this kind of defensive land placement, taking these wells, is very, very, very good against Rush, because your Rush players don't gain Faeria when making aggressive lines. So if this was a desert here, you could play a creature with haste, collect a Faeria, and then push damage. Having Kalim's follower, for example, paying for itself is incredibly powerful. Same applies for Red Rush. So if a Red Rush player gets a mountain here, sure, they don't collect Faeria straight away because they haven't got haste, but if that creature lives, it collects an additional Faeria, and that gives Red Rush the opportunity to draw more cards and apply more pressure. Now, where do I want to go from here? I can actually skip a whole land if I want by just doing this. What I'm doing is just making life really difficult. that's what you want to do against Rush. You want to make sure that everything they do is an absolute pain in the butt. you want them to have to use removal to apply pressure. Like if I didn't do this land covering or this blocking, you know, Dragonfly would just go, I don't know, monk, maybe push a monk across. Like there's just so many things you could do to apply pressure, but once you start putting creatures in front, it's just a bit of a pain, that's all. And there's a demon. Okay. So Faeria is still a resource that I want to use. That is a really good pickup. Oh my goodness. So what we're going to do is now, I haven't taken much damage, so I feel like I'm pretty comfortable. We're going to set up another collector here. Use the Horsemaster to zip right up. Take an aggressive mountain on this well. And then we're going to clear. Then we're going to pass. So this does open up the gates a little bit for Dragonfly to play aggressively. You can get a lot of stuff down. But the main thing that Dragonfly is going to want in this situation are monks and followers. And to be fair, don't really care about monks and followers simply because I have a Ground Shaker in hand, which will clear them all up and apply more pressure to my opponent. And now I've developed an aggressive mountain here rather than here like last game. I feel like I have more time to set up lands to gain collection from my aggressive avenues. There's still Axe Grinder that can defend on anything that moves on this tile. There's still Horsemaster that needs to be removed. So again, these two creatures do have a fair amount of reach. They can still access creatures that Dragonfly decides to play. We're going to see Choking Sands on Horsemaster, so a 1 Faeria value for me there. And my Axe Grinder is just going to kill this. This is my moment to just be aggressive. Now, interestingly enough, there's not really a good aggressive land placement for me to play the barracks. Now, let's just say, for example, I had developed double neutral up to... I double neutraled here on the following turn, and then I went mountain. That way, I could play a barracks here, and then both my creatures attacking would be able to apply more damage. Now, if I was to make land here and play the barracks, I won't be able to attack with a creature from this angle. So what I can do instead, if I really want to accelerate things, I can... It's going to cost me 3 lands, but I could set up a land here, put the barracks here, and then once I get my Ground Shaker over, I can shimmy them across and gain the most out of the damage. But I don't feel like I need to do that just yet. I think I'm fine. So let's get ready for that, I think. Let's just clear this. Play the Ground Shaker. and apply pressure. So I'm winning the race once again with 2 ground shakers. It's funny how that's happened again. I guess I've been pretty lucky as far as draws are concerned. So the only issue now with playing ground shaker is I don't have a good answer to all the haste creatures, but I do push 10 damage next turn. And I have lethal next turn. I can +1 barracks into flame burst. And that's going to be lethal. So there does need to be a last nightmare or a block for my opponent. You could like desert here, I suppose, and then play a follower in the middle. Desert here, nightmare, this ground shaker. Gonna go for Zealous Crusader. And then Flash Winder in front. So Dragon Slide, well played there, Dragon Slide. You identified that I had a very strong win condition with just these 2. So that's really good. Bomb Slinger. It's a good draw. I guess we just Bomb Slinger this. Take the clear. And push the damage. So I still have lethal next turn if this... If both of these live, or one of these live, I still have lethal. Because I'll be able to +1 barracks into flame burst. They are quite weak. I mean, Soul Drain could come down here. You could have the Demon Wrangler trade, move +1 into Monk, into Prayer, into Follower. There's a lot of different avenues Yellow Rush can go if they have a Prayer. Prayer is pretty important to its game plan. But Dragon Slide is going to have to remove this. Maybe even consider removing this as well, because this collects Faeria for me. But might want to push damage and get a Prayer off. Yeah, so I couldn't even remove this. So if this doesn't die, I win. Regardless of which Ground Shaker lives. If this Ground Shaker gets nightmared, I just move up, play the barracks. Hit the noggin, drop the flame burst. GG's. Soul Drain, okay. So still not enough to get outside of lethal. And the funny thing is, if my Ground Shaker had +1 life, he would have been able to get outside of lethal because he would have gained 2 life instead of 1. You only gain what is available when it comes to Soul Drain. And only 1 life was on my Ground Shaker. And I will give him a well play. Drop the barracks. Into +1. Into Flame Burst. And there we have it. GG's against another Rush player. And there's a lot of Rush on the ladder right now, so I think if you like defeating Rush, Red Control is a really good option. That wraps up this episode of Card Spotlight. Barracks got to be used aggressively and defensively during those 2 Rush matchups. And it just goes to show that a full life structure against Yellow Rush is actually a bit of a pain in the butt for them, because it's very difficult to remove without investing 2 haste creatures or making sure a creature can stick to the board so it can attack it on the following turn. But that is key damage missed to your opponent's orb, and it's very hard to keep something on the board against Red Control simply because they have a lot of removal. Bomb Slingers, Flame Burst, Cypher's Wraths, you name it, Red Control has it. If you liked this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and drop us a subscribe. All your support is greatly appreciated. If you'd like to check out my live stream, I do stream 4 days a week. I stream from Monday to Thursday from 2 PM CEST or CET, depending on what time of the year it is. And yeah, I play ladder. I try to climb the higher ranks of God. You probably noticed that my rank was a bit low on God rank. It's because I've been playing green-yellow combo. I've been playing that deck for the first time over the last couple of days, and trying to figure it out. It's a very complicated deck, so if you'd like to see me go through that process, be sure to check out my Twitch, which is twitch.tv/aquablad. Of course, check out the hub if you haven't. There's some great resources there, guides, articles, decks from myself and the community. So until next time, guys, take care and enjoy Cobble Barracks.